Welcome, everybody. It looks like we're live, and thank you for joining us. My name is Lisette Sutherland. I am one half of Collaboration Superpowers. I am joined by the other half, Eleanor Slamba, and we're here today representing ICAgile. And we are going to be talking about the equivalent prior learning process for the ICAgile Certified Professional. And we're going to basically today just give a little bit of background and purpose, and then also go into the implications for the member training organizations for ICAgile and the students. So today, Eleanor, I'm going to basically be asking you about this, and why don't we start off with a brief introduction about this, the background and the purpose of this equivalent prior learning program. Oh, and excuse me, before we start, I would like to welcome everybody to please ask questions. You can do that in a number of ways. There is, for the people who are watching this webinar live, there is a chat box on the right-hand side. For those who are watching through Google+, you're welcome to use the Q&A feature, and you can also send us a tweet at ICAgile. I will be monitoring that throughout this conversation, and we'll make sure your questions get answered. With that, Eleanor, I turn it over to you to describe the background and purpose.
Thank you very much, Lisette. Yes, it's important to start off by saying that the equivalency for prior learning process for ICAgile has not launched yet. It's set to launch on June 30th. So this is part of our pre-launch conversation with the member training organizations to make sure that people understand the implications, and mainly the group that will be particularly attuned to this are the member training organizations who offer continuous learning certifications, because the continuing learning certifications are specialty beyond the Agile fundamentals. So the ICAgile certified professionals who pursue the continuous learning pathway are going to need to make sure that they've covered the fundamentals. So there will be a new way to do that starting on June 30th. So that's basically what this whole process is about, a new way to enter the learning path that ICAgile has created from certified professional to the expert level on the journey towards Agile mastery. And I see we have 5 viewers now, so I imagine that they've received an email from Ahmed Sidki, the director of ICAgile, and Ahmed explained in that email kind of what the new process would be. And it's important to start off by saying that ICAgile really sees learning itself as the product, and certification is the byproduct. And the learning that ICAgile focuses on is directed towards the Agile mindset, not any one particular methodology. So we recognize that there are many people with various different professional backgrounds on their journey towards Agile mastery. And in the past, you could come in and take, as I did actually with Lisa Atkins and Michael Spade, a specialty, a continuous learning class like Agile coaching or Agile fundamentals. And taking that and claiming your certification through ICAgile would automatically include your ICP certification, your ICAgile certified professional level. Now, starting in June 30th, we want to make sure that everybody really shares the same fundamentals, and that there's an emphasis on the consistency and the integrity of the process, and not quite so much pressure in the continuing learning certification module to cover everything about ICAgile and the framework that people get in the fundamentals class. So ICAgile has created an e-learning module, and so students who enroll in a continuing learning certification class after June 30th and then go to claim their ICAgile certification will be asked to take this e-learning module that covers fundamentals if they don't already have their ICP. Does that make sense so far, Lisette?
To me, it sounds pretty clear, but we've been working on this and being deep in it for a while now, so I can imagine For us, it's not particularly new information, but I welcome anybody with any questions now or in the future to
Just want to make
contact
sure
us.
none are coming in at the moment before I go on.
Nope,
Okay.
I'm monitoring. I'll let you
Okay.
know.
So here's how it goes. When students who do not have the ICP already log in to their to claim the continuous learning certification, they're going to see the description. The ICAgile Certified Professional is the entry-level certification for all ICAgile learning tracks. Prospective students with relevant industry experience and/or equivalent prior learning are eligible to apply for the ICP via this equivalent learning process. And to progress along any ICAgile learning track and earn the continuing learning certifications, we're asking that students follow these steps described to submit their application. And one would be an online application that documents their industry certifications. They may be certified in a particular Agile framework that covered a lot of the fundamentals. They may have other kinds of Agile learning, and they need to answer some open-ended questions that will enable ICAgile to assess their understanding of the core fundamentals concepts. And then there will be an administrative certificate fee of $80 that covers the certification, the e-learning module, and just the basic administrative costs of reviewing the application. And that is a non-refundable fee, so students are asked to make sure that they're confident in their understanding of the Agile fundamentals before they submit their application and the payment. And then
I'm going to go ahead and post this link that you're describing in the chat for everybody so that people can see it. And then I'll go ahead and share my screen. Eleanor, if you can make sure that that's pointed on me, I'll share my screen so people can see what you're talking about. I think that would help. Sorry to interrupt.
I would be happy to let you take it away.
Okay, I am now sharing my screen so people can see what it looks like. I've also posted the link in the chat box. So please, Eleanor, apologies to interrupt you. Feel free to continue.
And then, so upon the application approval, the student's going to receive a link for that 1-hour e-learning course, and that's going to have the comprehensive overview of ICAgile, the benefits of identifying as a member of the ICAgile community, and other key orientation points that are normally included in the fundamentals course. So the MTO offering continuing learning certifications needn't make time in their courseware for those things in particular, although of course there will be some overlap. And then in order to, this might be obvious, but just in case, we can't assume anything's obvious, the student will complete a continuing learning course. So they're going to commit to entering the learning path and achieving their status as an ICAgile certified professional, and that will open up the gateway to continuing to earn learning credits on the path to ICAgile expert. So the key points are consistency and integrity in the ICAgile approach. So there's many Agile professionals out there with a very strong grasp of the fundamentals. There's people who've collected various certifications along their Agile journey, and since learning is the product, certification is the byproduct, we have a way for people to show us that they've covered the fundamentals. They needn't take a fundamentals course through ICAgile to prove that. They can do this instead and hop right on those continuous learning tracks that will delve into specialty areas like Agile coaching or Agile facilitation. And this is designed, the whole thing is designed to showcase a commitment to Agile learning and an understanding of the ICAgile's learning objectives. And
Eleanor, I have a question for you.
Yes.
This question is from Stephanie in the audience. She asked about the $80 payment, and that payment, it's made through ICAgile or through the training providers? Let's clarify.
Yes, it's made directly through ICAgile when they log in to claim the continuous learning certification. They're going to see their transcript in the back end of the ICAgile website, and then the learning credits that they've earned are going to show up, but for them to show up as a certified professional, it will cue the student to complete that step and pay that fee. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me, but I'll make sure that no other questions are coming in. So we'll make sure it makes sense to Stephanie.
Okay, and I also want to make sure people understand that we've consulted with MTOs in developing this. Many have long experience and history and in the nuances of ICAgile, and others are looking at their market and the needs of their students. And so ICAgile has devised this process to meet the needs of the market and to honor the work that our senior MTOs and track designers have done in building this whole community.
One person has asked if we would be sending the documentation out after the webinar, and I just want to let everybody know that I will send out the statement, the official statement from ICAgile to everybody that's attending this webinar.
Very
so I have
good.
I have one more question, and
Okay.
that is, will ICAgile notify the training providers that a student was approved to bypass?
I believe that is it's a very good question, and it seems reasonable to me that they would be notified. If that feature is not yet automated, then we'll make sure it comes in as a customer request, but I'm fairly certain that yes, they will be notified.
Great, thanks, Eleanor.
Mm-hmm.
So we've covered the background and the purpose. We've covered the process description, and I think we've covered mostly the implications for MTOs and students. But I just wanted to make sure if there was anything else we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, let me just reiterate, since I said this process would start in June 30th, that for students who received continuing learning certifications prior to June 30th, no action is needed. So it's from July 2014 forward that students who enroll in the ICAgile accredited courses that grant CLCs must complete this process in order to receive their ICP, the certified professional level, and their continuing learning certification. So they will receive both of their certificates together once they have completed the process and completed the continuing learning course. They kind of come together as a package deal, and then this new process kind of fills in the fundamentals piece, or documents the fundamentals piece in that in maintaining the integrity and the consistency of our certifications. So
Great.
we want
Bill, just really quick to note, Bill let me know that that the link I sent probably needed to be checked, and what I'll let everybody know is that this link will be included, the link to where I was screen sharing the orientation, that is included in the documentation that we send out to everybody after the webinar. So
okay, good.
Good. All right.
So hopefully we've provided enough of a framework to get everyone on the same page prior to that June 30th magic date when things are going to change a little bit, but it all falls within this scope of our vision about the Agile mindset and the importance of going beyond specific methodologies to the learning objectives that answer the question, what does someone need to know to become an expert in a particular Agile discipline? And just to recap, for people who might not be familiar, the certified professional level is a knowledge-based certification that opens the gate to pursuing status as an ICAgile certified expert. And the expert level and then the master level beyond that are competency-based certifications that actually require that a student demonstrate what they know, demonstrate that they know how to apply it in certain situations, and submit videos and go in front of a panel. So it's much more than a test. The courses that are based, I want to give all the MTOs a lot of credit, because the courses that are based on these learning objectives look different from each other, and that supports the creativity and ongoing evolution of Agile.
Indeed, I've once again shared my screen. Eleanor, if you can make sure that that is visible to the participants just by clicking on my picture. It's just the ICAgile roadmap with the different levels of certifications. I just wanted to visualize that. I know probably everybody has seen it, and I will send out the link to this direct page to everybody right now in the chat, but just so that people can see what the different tracks are and the different certifications are, and that link should give everybody the direct access to the roadmap.
That's right, great. And so this equivalency for prior learning process is now gonna fold in to the continuing learning credits pathway, so that professionals who have the Agile fundamentals under their belts will not be required to take an Agile fundamentals course, but simply apply, pay the $80 fee for administration, take and complete their CLC course, and then take the e-learning module, the 1-hour module produced by ICAgile that covers a number of orientation points. And then we're all on the same page.
So Agile Bill just wrote, yep, the expert level is tough. I failed the gate the first time, but got it the second time. Woo! So congratulations, Bill. And,
I love.
And we're also about to be joined by Ahmed. Ahmed, welcome. I hope you can hear us okay. I think
yes,
we
I
can hear
can.
you. Great. So you had something to add. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, just the key thing that I wanted to add was around the messaging to the students from this point on, which is they need to understand to get there, as Eleanor, you were saying, it's a package now, right?
Yes.
The CLC and the fundamentals, that basically in order to get their CLC, they need to complete this process. And I think the reason we want to emphasize this is we don't want any students to be upset. Like, they go into the class assuming that they will get a CLC at the end of it, whether in testing and facilitation and whatever, and then find out that, wait, where's my certificate? I actually have to go back and fill out this this whole prior learning process. So we want to make sure that students understand that messaging early on. And Stephanie, as you were saying earlier, some students won't even register till they complete their prior learning process. Some students, the reality of the training business, some students will go ahead and register due to time, whatever, a whole private class is, taking the class in a certain company. But it's just really, really important for that messaging to go to the students saying, listen, in order to maintain the integrity and consistency of the roadmap and of the learning path, you need to have your ICP before you are granted your CLC. So I just wanted to make sure that MTOs really sort of promote that message, and I believe in our statement we gave some text to even send out to the students or put on the registration website and so forth.
That's right.
And if any of the MTOs need this language or need us, then please just get in touch with us, and we'll be happy to send that information out. We're here to help.
And I believe it's included in the link that they will get in the statement. So
Indeed.
the language to students is included in the statement. So we want it to be a very easy messaging process. You can lift and drop that and know that you're saying the official truth.
Great. Well, I don't have any more questions from the public at this time. So why don't we wrap this up? If there's any last things, Ahmed or Eleanor, that you want to add in before we wrap up this webinar, now is the time.
One concern people have echoed to me, so let's just put it on record, is the idea that a lot of people would bypass the fundamentals because of this process. And I think that's actually not what this process is intended to do. We, and I think all our MTOs know how we value the fundamentals of Agile and making sure people understand the difference between being and doing and really understand the mindset. At the same time, it would be arrogant of us to say that everyone out there doesn't know the fundamentals, doesn't have the mindset, and they all have to go through the fundamentals. And so really this program is, the whole point, it was built to give a venue for these people to actually deepen their Agile knowledge, which is one of our missions, without having to sit through things they already know. And even if they don't know 10% of what the mindset is, that's part of where the e-learning course comes in to fill that gap. We recognize that could be a very unique part, and that's why we built it into the ICAgile e-learning class. But I want to assure everyone that this is not intended for people to skip the fundamentals or jump right into expert tracks without knowing the fundamentals. We believe in that as a solid foundation. So rest assured we are fully aware of that, and people won't just pass this by going through the steps. They actually have to, as they submit their application, we will look and make sure that they actually understand what they're talking about.
I'm glad people got to hear that directly from you, Ahmed, and it also strikes me that the MTOs will have a way to recognize that students have legitimate Agile learning from many different sources. You're basically honoring the legitimacy of Agile learning from a myriad of sources.
Yes. Yeah. It would be, like I said, I think it would be arrogant of us to think otherwise.
Do you want to say anything about the learning objectives themselves for anyone who's watching who's not affiliated with a member training organization, what their significance is, how they can access and use them?
Well, I mean, since you ask, the way ICAgile is structured is really around learning objectives, where, as you said earlier, what do people need to learn to actually be competent and experts in these disciplines? And so the way ICAgile answered that question was to set out and talk to experts and say, what do people actually need to learn? And we facilitated the gathering and consolidation of those learning objectives and put them as Creative Commons on the ICAgile website. So whether people want to use them to design courses and get them accredited by ICAgile or just for their own learning benefit, that's totally up to them. That's our contribution to advancing the state of Agile learning. At the same time, our role is sort of to ensure quality education to students by accreditation and recognizing that education and learning through certification. So that's what we're here to do, and to serve a hungry community that wants to learn more about Agile.
Well, it's great to see that hunger from all corners of the world lately, and the conversations that we're having with folks in different countries and the new member training organizations coming on board. So thank you for stepping in and sharing your perspective, and thank you to all our viewers, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, before we go, we got a few more questions in, so I'd like to actually address those before we go. So the first question is, to verify, is the equivalency standalone, or do you have to be enrolled in a continuous learning course in order to get the ICP?
Very good question. Eleanor, do you mind if I answer that?
Not at all.
All
I do know it, but go ahead.
I know you do. I know you do. I'm just quite passionate about this one. So, we actually went through a lot of discussion. So someone that comes with Certified Scrum Master or ACP and wants the ICP, which is the equivalent, the fundamentals, should we give it to them? And I think from day one, we've always told people we're not just a certification body. We have a much deeper objective, which is to advance people's Agile learning and take them to the next degree. And so to stay true to that spirit, we're actually linking it that if you want just the ICP for the sake of it, sorry, that's not what we're doing. But if you want it to continue your learning, then we will grant it to you to fulfill your requirements. So they are linked. So as a condition to actually getting the ICP, you actually have to complete a CLC. So just to make this crystal clear, someone would apply, even if they got accepted and paid the fees and went through the e-learning and all that was checked off. On their dashboard, it says, step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 3 is get your CLC. As soon as they enroll in a CLC class and pass the class, at that point, as Eleanor mentioned, they get both certificates together. But we're not in the business of just handing out certificates.
Great, that makes sense.
The next question is, so the ICP certification will continue to cover the Agile fundamentals? With question mark.
The ICP will continue to cover Agile fundamentals. Yeah. I'm a little confused about the question, but I believe, yeah.
I think they're asking if Agile fundamentals will continue to be taught in the same way for the knowledge-based certification of the ICP, and the answer is absolutely.
Absolutely. We actually expect that, a number of people that would apply for the ICP equivalent may or may not pass. I mean, this is not a guaranteed process by any means. So, and if they don't pass, we will refer them back and say, unfortunately, you may know Agile, we still acknowledge that, but you don't cover the learning objectives of the fundamentals of Agile.
And so studying up on the learning objectives and becoming familiar and being confident that you, in fact, do meet them is part of preparing to apply.
Yeah.
And those are freely accessible, downloadable from the website.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the last question that I have is, will we be able to view/review the e-learning class? I think that's...
Yeah, why not? That would be awesome. We can send out the link to everyone and have people go through it.
Yeah, feedback from MTOs on the e-learning module is certainly welcome, part of our inspect and adapt loops, I'm sure, and it was included in the statement that was emailed from Ahmed, and we'll make sure people get that again.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think the link is in the statement. You're right, Eleanor.
It's a link in a PDF file, though, and those aren't always easy to access.
Okay.
I had trouble clicking through it, so people may have gotten stuck there. So we'll make sure they get a nice live link to that.
Indeed. Great. Well, I think that's it. That's it for the questions from the audience. I think that's it from everybody on the webinar. If there's other questions, feel free to tweet us or email us. It's at ICAgile is the Twitter account. And of course, anything, marketing at ICAgile.com will get you all the answers you need to know. So thanks, everybody, and we'll end the webinar here.
Bye.